The previous video we finished with this slide when we were discussing how to fix the issue with map in Python 2. Of course, for Python 3 programmers, this is not relevant this way, but in Python 2, if you have two lists which are not the same length and you use map where you provide both of these lists, then map will do all the pairs and will use none instead of the missing values for the shorter list or lists. And this can be a problem if, for example, you're using plus. And the fix is to use the ternary operator to give a default value. Default value was 0 here. There is actually a shorter way to write this, and this is going to be the next slide. So you can write even this short. You don't need the whole ternary operator, and that would still do the same, at least in this case, setting you a default value of 0. Then there is something else that's again back to all of the Python programmers, so both Python 2 and Python 3. What happens if the two or more iterables that you're using the map function on them are different types? So for example, in this case, we have a list of strings and a string, but this could be a list, it could be another tuple, or anything that any iterable. Okay, and we can use them, and map will just fetch values from both of them at the same time. So of course, in this case, it will be fetch the elements of the list, which are these foo, bar, and buzz strings, and on the other hand, from v2, the elements of this string, which are a, b, and c, basically the characters. So because here the operation is plus, what it is going to do is just concatenate the two strings. And finally, for this map example, before we look at exercises, is what happens if you have a list of dictionaries, and you would like to get one of the values out of the dictionary. For example, here we have a bunch of, I don't know, people, Foo and Bar and Snow White, and you would like to, each one has their phone number, but what we'd like to get is a list of the names, for example. So the way to extract this information is to iterate over, for example, the people, so the whole list, and then for each element is going to be a small dictionary like this. So each D, and that's why I call it here D, because it's a dictionary, each dictionary, and then we are accessing the name field in this dictionary. Now this is going to create names. Again, it's not a list, it's just a map object. So if we print it out, it's a map object, but you can listify it by using list, or you can just iterate over it if you don't want to take up the whole memory by creating the list. So that were a couple of examples for using map.